moving ahead with another keynote on esports ecosystem, its opportunities and challenges. The keynote will be delivered by Ms. Kim Meltzer, who is the Chief Gaming Officer at Mobile Global Esports. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Kim Meltzer, and I am the Chief Gaming Officer for Mobile Global Esports, as well as the CEO of Destination Esports. I have 13 years in the video game and esports industry, and I'm privileged to be called the esports mom. I've had the privilege to raise over 1,000 players over 8 gaming titles, and I've also had the opportunity to work with brands and developers, publishers, and gamers around the world. I'm truly honored to be here today and to have an opportunity to share my story, as well as to really put together the thoughts on what it is for the esports ecosystem with opportunities and challenges that I've faced within those last 13 years. Part of the opportunity that I've had is that I started 30 years ago, believe it or not, in the hotel and hospitality industry, where I worked over 500 events in the corporate association, travel, pharmaceutical, entertainment, etc. And I've been privileged to have many, many clients along the way. 13 years ago, I had the privilege to put together the Call of Duty Black Ops 1 confidential press junket for their top 50 press at that time in December of 2010. What I found in the video game and esports industry is that video games have been captured for a long time by fans around the world, even since I was a child back in the 70s, which I don't even want to tell you my age, but you can tell that I'm definitely not in my 20s any longer. Playing Atari, playing some of the most fun games that we had back in those days, and now looking at some of the most developed and looking now at AI for what it is in the gaming industry and creating games that are so lifelike that it's almost mind-blowing that it isn't literally real but virtual. I wanted to share kind of some things that are important to really understand what it is to be in the video game and esports industry. Having started with Call of Duty, which you can see in my background, that was my first gaming experience in creating the travel hospitality, the VIP, and the player experience, working with an amazing team called Encompass back in the early 2010 era. And we actually activated the entire gaming experience. The first one at this press junket was that we actually flew Sikorsky's and we actually created the game in a lifelike experience. When they got off the plane, they came to a hangar and they actually saw the first opening of the game. This had never been seen nor done, and it created a three-dimensional experience that brought the actual press to the hangar. They got their Italian-made helmets with their gamer tags. They got thrown on a helicopter, and that's where I was waiting, creating the most amazing experience that was multiplayer as well as single player, that they experienced the game firsthand with the developers in a quiet, confidential setting, at that time in Ojai, but nobody knew that. And it was an experience to which woke me up to the reality that games are not one-dimensional, nor is the video game industry one-dimensional. From there, I was building out the esports ecosystem, and as you can see above me, that jersey is from the first esports experience for Call of Duty back in the day. And it was there that I understood esports in a whole new dimension. We know that publishers and developers, and mainly developers creating the games and the publishers that have the opportunity to distribute it, they create a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for their game to meet the need of the fan. And that's really where it all started. If you go back into time when video games were built, when we didn't have esports, it was the game itself being bought, played by everyone, and it was there that they found that the ability of the player was different in every stage. There were those that were excelling beyond just a normal single player experience. And when you played against each other, you found that there was more competition and capabilities that were never ever found like when we actually started. In that, we found that there was an opportunity to bring everyone together under an event. And that's truly what esports is. Esports is a setting that brings everybody under one roof: the publisher, the developer, the fan, the brands, the production teams, anyone and everyone that had any kind of infrastructure support for the actual game itself. And that's what esports really needs to be defined as in this day and age. We call everything esports, and that's not necessarily true. And I want to make sure that if there's anything you take away from this conversation, it's that esports is truly the event. And that's the celebration of the game with everybody in a live event setting. And that's where I've done my most work here in the 13 years that I've been doing this. I've worked on things with Twitch, Lineage 2 Revolution at TwitchCon, which was the #1 content at that time. I've worked on Vainglory Mobile. I've worked on RLCS and created it from the ground floor with Psyonix and Twitch at that time. I've worked with Summit House on Dota 2, CSGO, and even worked at Blizzard, where I had the opportunity to look at the beta for Overwatch, worked with Warcraft, Diablo, StarCraft, and even did some live tournaments for Heroes of the Storm. One of the most important pieces that I can share with you that makes esports go very well in the growth of what we do is the fan. Everyone seems to forget the fan. This is not a money grab, and there are no billionaires in esports other than the developers and publishers who've created some of the most amazing games. You can make money as a content creator, but when you come down to esports as a whole, it's about the gamer, it's about the experience, and it's about the live event, as well as playing the game and building the game out so that the fan can really enjoy it for what it is. And that's the most important piece that I can leave you today, is that should always be most important, gamer first. And what I mean by that is that the gamer first experience is if the fan is going to continue to be a part of that community, you will always have someone to go to that's going to always look forward to the next experience, the next activation, the next live event. When you open the door to just a money grab, it never ever grows, and that's where your challenge is. We've seen a lot change in the last 13 years, and I am honored, even at this moment, to be able to bring esports to India in a special way with all of my experience and the team that I built it with, and I'm grateful for all of them for what they've offered for me to be able to do. And as you'll see when Shiva Nandi speaks later, he is one of the amazing people that I get to work with, and that I'm looking forward to creating this MOGO Championship 2.0 at lovely LPU, or Lovely Private University, that we'll be doing during this time when you hear me speak. I am so honored to be in India to create a market that is going to understand and educate every gamer to be able to enjoy these games, grow with these games, grow with their communities, and always remember that they are first in line for what goes on. I hope and pray that as you guys finish doing these different speaking engagements, and as you grow through this summit, that you always look to what the gamer and the fan needs. And with that, you'll find growth and you'll see less challenge. Being here after 13 years lets you know that it's all about being a community. And when we lose that sight, and knowing as many gamers as you have in India and around the world, that's most important. So I hope that after this speech, as you go through the many topics and conversations, that you always think about the gamer and never forget what his or her opportunity to bring to the table means to each and every one of you. Use focus groups, have opportunities to listen, and that will be your greatest edge against anything else that you do in your competition. And may esports and video gaming never lose its sight, and that it's the most important industry here in this day and age, especially with technology. And I give a shout out to every gamer here who's listening, and to every developer who develops, and to the publisher who distributes, and to the indie game developers who will never give up. I hope they keep going and they keep striving for what is about to come. And let AI be a blessing and not a curse. And may everything that you do be simple and soulful, and never lose the edge on what it is that is most important, to which I say is gamer first. It's been a privilege to speak to you. I look forward to hearing everyone else's talks. I hope to meet you someday. And if you would like to, you can follow me on Twitter, now X, at Kim Meltzer. Take care, have a wonderful event, and I look forward to meeting you someday soon.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your views on esports ecosystem.